Here she is.
Hi.
Hey, you got your own background music and everything.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No. It's okay. It's quite all right.
So how are you today? Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day. I can't see you. Is that in? Do you not want to be seen? It's okay if you don't. But
oh, I don't mind being seen. What do I need to do? What am I doing
if you
wrong?
want to turn the camera on, turn it on. And the YouTube folks can see your face. The Live Me folks cannot see your face. That's the other app I'm on. But they get the first choice in asking you questions. So we already got some questions lined up for you. So, you know, go ahead, take a swig of coffee, and then we'll start firing away. We'll give you a second. Happy Valentine's Day. Back to you. How is everything going?
It's going well. I mean, it's just been really hectic with the campaign and getting ready for the convention, which is in a weekend after next. So that's going to be a little hectic. Good times.
All right. So for anybody that's not familiar with you, and some folks, they're really looking forward to you, but some folks may not be as familiar. So give everybody a quick introduction, who you are, what you're doing, et cetera, et cetera.
My name is Maria Estrada. I'm a mom. I have 2 children. I have 2 grandchildren. I'm 6 of 7 children. I'm on the board of the Native Women's Union Association. I was one of the founders of Compton for Bernie, and we campaigned for Bernie, and we helped get a lot of the young Bernie delegates funding to go to Philly. I'm also helped with the Recall Rendon campaign. And what ended up happening was I was asked by a lot of people on the recall, as well as activists in the district, to run in the race, because I actually had no desire to run as a, you know, I've never actually wanted to run for office, but I was asked to run, and I had quite a few people contact me, and you know, I thought about it, and no one was going to run against him. He's pretty much gone uncontested all this time. And in fact, I don't even think the Republican that has run against him in the past is in the race. So I believe it's just he and I that are in it.
Well, you know what they say, heroes are recruited, right? Isn't that the thing?
I don't know if I'm a hero, but I'll do my best.
So, let me ask you this first then to start out, and this is my question. Then we got some lined up from the viewers already here. But why is it so important, for anybody not in the know, why is it so important somebody run against Anthony Rendon?
Well, I mean, I think within this progressive movement, everyone's talking about SB 562 and the healthcare bill that he shelved. And basically, he stopped the legislative process. So nothing could be done with the bill, no changes, no amendments, nothing. He's passed the Senate, he's holding it, and he's not letting it move forward. And that's the big issue right now, because I'm sure we all know that, you know, that healthcare is critical for so many people. But when you think about families in the 63rd district, where the average income for a family of 3 is $38,000, and you know, you have a copay and you have an emergency and you have to pay $100 to go to emergency, that's a lot of money. And that bill would have been extremely helpful to the people in that district. But more importantly, there's so many environmental issues affecting the 63rd. Everyone knows about the Exide plant and all of the problems that have come with that. But also, like a friend of mine, she's an activist in Cudahy. She just posted a video of her sink water coming out in a glass, and it's brown. There's a class action lawsuit against 7 companies in the city of Paramount that have, you have families that have the entire family sick. A gentleman that I met can't even work. His children are sick all the time. Children in the classrooms with allergies, asthma, bloody noses, cancer is prevalent. So I believe the first hearing was in January, but this affects everyone in the district. And there's a chromium-6 levels are way too high in the 63rd as well as in 64th. In Compton, the reading was at 10.3 on December 14th, which is extremely high. Not to mention they're releasing arsenic in the community. And all of these things have been going on for decades. So it's really, I feel it's criminal that the speaker would shelve a bill that would have tremendously helped the people in the 63rd, as well as everyone in the state of California.
So for anyone just tuning in, we are live with Maria Estrada. She is running against Anthony Rendon in California 63rd. Who is Anthony Rendon? He is the guy that pretty much single-handedly shelved our single-payer bill here in the state of California. And he's a Democrat. What you gonna do? So we got a listener question. And guys, by the way, you can submit your questions over on the live me, over on the YouTube. We're going to get to as many as we can on this lovely Valentine's Day. Kate asks Maria, what are your thoughts on California divesting from oil and gas? Also, she wants to ask you your thoughts on SB 710.
As far as divesting, we really need to go to renewables. The problem is that the oil industry is too tied to the Democratic Party, to both parties. The fact of the matter is both parties receive donations from the same people. So as long as money's in politics and that's allowed, it's going to continue, and that won't change. I'm against. I'm for money out of politics completely. Citizens United needs to be overturned. But until that happens, you know, money's going to always win, whether it's in healthcare, whether it's with the environment. The state of California has been run by Democrats since 1959, and everything that's happened, whether it's with the environment and healthcare and education and poverty and homelessness, could be attributed directly to Democrats and their neoliberal policies that they've put forth in this state. So unless we get progressives to in these seats up and down the state, and that's not going to change. And I mean, unfortunately, what's happened is we're just being pushed back by the party, and they're not allowing us to even have a fair. We don't have a fair chance within the party because they're blocking us at every level. I just was managed to block the speaker's endorsement, and they flipped the rules on me, and that didn't happen. So right now, I'm actually in the process of contesting that legally with attorneys, and it's not just myself. It's Stephen Jaffe, several other candidates that they did the same thing to, and they were given erroneous lists, and it's unfortunate. But we're trying to push forward and get this at the convention. Hopefully, by the time we get there, something will be remedied legally so that we could have a fair chance at the endorsement, and which would bring in all the resources we need.
So first of all, it sounds like there's a spaceship being launched wherever it is you are. If that's the case, please stay safe. Stay out of the engine room.
Sorry, that's actually my laptop. And
really?
Yeah, and actually I could hear it, and I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. I'm just kidding. So it's interesting how you are being actively like the party of which you are supposed to be a member of, and democracy is not specifically reserved for Anthony Rendon. It's reserved for everybody, or that's what we're told. Meanwhile, everything you just said in your answer is evidence of the party actively working against you.
Yeah, and this has happened actually in my ADEM elections last year as well. The entire election, they called the police on us. They bust in 2 charter buses of elderly people from Compton and Watts. By the time they got there, the police was there, all over the place, trying to remove one of our delegates. The convener actually pulled a ballot out of the ballot box, and we had it on video. And they still ruled against us. We lost across the board. We appealed it in Sacramento last May at the convention, and they still ruled against us, even with video. So, everything we've done, we follow the rules exactly how they're written, and they still change them on us. So it's pretty clear that they they're not willing to allow us to be part of the process. So it's a battle from all sides. But we're in it to win it, and this is none of us expected this to happen overnight. From the time the primaries, when we saw how that all went down, I was in Philly, and it was heartbreaking. But we still have to push forward, and this is a long game. And, none of this is going to happen overnight. Your oppressor's not going to give up his power. Just hand it over. You're going to have to take it from them.
Well, do you ever feel like reforming the Democratic Party from within is kind of hopeless? I mean, do you ever feel that way? Because sometimes, I mean, I'm
every day. Okay. Every day. Well, I mean, the thing is that we're really not trying to reform it. We're trying to infiltrate it and take it over. I mean, there's no reforming the party, because the people in power are not going to give up that power, and nobody in seats of power are elected. They're all appointed. So, I mean, you have to go from writing these resolutions to allow there to be an electoral process to get people elected at all levels, because it's set up in a manner to exclude people, and you have to be part of that club. And if you're not part of that club, you're never going to make it in. So unless we are able to do that, it's just a matter of taking over and getting people in these seats is part of that. They were blindsided by these ADEM elections. The 2015 convention, I believe, had like 1,500 delegates. The last May, we had over 3,000. And that was because we went in, progressives went in, and we figured out how they played the game. I honestly had no idea what delegates were, how it worked. I had no idea. Friends of mine, actually, I wasn't even a Dem. They pulled me in, asked me to come in, and got me as an alternative in the LACDP, and then, got me to apply to become, to run in an election as a delegate, which I had not heard. I lost, so they appointed me through the Central County Committee and a seat as a delegate, and that's how I got to be a delegate. But otherwise, I would have not known how it even works. The whole process is just ridiculous.
So we got some more viewer questions. I'm going to get to them, which, by the way, quick, I try to tell this to everybody. When you see me kind of looking around and stuff like that, it's not that I'm not paying attention to you. It's that I'm multitasking because I have questions coming at me from two different mediums. So I'm just...
And I'd like to apologize because I got the same thing.
Best I can. I'm doing the same thing. Like, if you're like, wow, Ron was like looking around and stuff, it's like I'm looking at the questions while also trying to, listen the best I can. So I am. You do have my undivided.
And I'd like to apologize because someone asked about SB 10, and is that the one about the silencers on the guns?
I'm actually not sure off the top of my head either. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Let's look it up. I have an information highway right here. I can find out for us. Let's see what happens here when I Google. But I believe that's correct. Yeah, it's on the silencers. Yes, it is on the silencers.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's what that's about.
Well, I'm just not sure why a private citizen would need a silencer.
Me too. Yeah, I'm not sure why either. I am not sure why either. I'm not sure why they need a magazine. I'm not sure why they need semi-automatics. I'm not sure why they need like 90-some guns in their house. I'm not sure about any of that stuff.
I would actually like to say that I'm not against guns. I believe that everyone has the right to bear arms. I'm not a anti-gun person. I just don't think everyone should be have a gun. I think there has to be a process. Unfortunately, the way it is now, people of color are not allowed to bear arms, and that's just always been the case. And the reason why California, where they say that Californians, because it's safer, because they have stricter gun laws, the whole reason gun laws are so strict in California was because in 1967, Ronald Reagan, as governor, signed the Mulford Act of 1967. In fact, the NRA was actually standing behind him when he signed it, and it was legislation written to prevent Black people, specifically the Black Panthers, from having weapons. So the whole reason for that was to deny people of color their rights, their Second Amendment rights.
Well, I mean, I'm not against banning guns completely either. What I am for is a common sense gun policy, and I'm for a federal one. I mean, some states have, better guidelines. Other states, if you have a pulse, you're walking away with a gun. So, I favor background checks. I think people should have references. I think people should be able to complete a basic class. I think we need to have regulation. I favor regulation on ammunition, similar to what they do in Switzerland, where, you have to go to a special place to get a lot of your ammunition. And it should be kind of heavily regulated how much ammunition you get. Are you using this rifle to hunt deer? Okay, you're allowed this much. If this gun is for self-defense in your home, you're allotted this much. I also favor federal rules. I also favor, I favor banning gun shows or banning the sales at gun shows. I favor banning semi-automatics and magazines and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm not against, taking it, or I'm not for taking everybody's gun away.
Well, one of the issues that
common sense gun policy
you just brought up is like everyone, and every conservative uses Chicago as an example of gun laws, and they don't work. But you could go to Randy's gun shop 18 miles out of Chicago and go buy a gun and go back into the city limits. So it's illogical to say, oh, well, it's because it's Chicago, because I could go from California to Nevada or Arizona and get a weapon that's not legal in California and come back with it. So it has to be a federal legislation that does it across the board. Otherwise, it's pointless.
I'm with you.
That's lost on a lot of people. I'm
with you, So I don't like to use I don't like to say pro-gun or anti-gun, because it's not like I'm necessarily pro-gun. It's not like I'm oh, guns, hell yeah. Oh. But I am
yeah, no, I get it. I agree. But yeah, back to what we were discussing as far as SB 562. Like I said, that's what's important right now, what everyone's discussing. But I actually have looking into Rendon's donors, and one of the things that we discovered is Annie Lamb is works for a lobbying firm in Sacramento, and Annie Lamb is Anthony Rendon's wife. So if you look at it by that, I mean, there's just so much conflict, and it doesn't make sense for anyone to ever think. I mean, I was at the Nurses Association on Thursday in Oakland, or Friday, was it? I can't even remember now, to talk to them about the endorsement. And I actually told them, I said, as long as he's in that seat, he's never going to release the bill. And I also said that I think that they should just move on from that bill, take those 17 pages, rewrite it, add the funding mechanisms, because that's the biggest excuse they're using right now, and then move forward with that. But as long as he's in that seat, he's gonna find an excuse to block that bill. So, go ahead.
Go ahead.
So basically, and the fact that his wife works for a lobbying firm, healthcare lobbying firm, I mean, ultimately, whenever if there's a profit to be made and a patient's health, the profit's always going to win. Money's always going to win. So that has to be removed from the equation. And as long as he's in that seat, that's never going to change.
Well, and I kind of find the whole funding thing to be total bullshit anyway. Because, by the way, you're allowed to curse here. You don't have to. I get it.
Well, somebody should have told me that when we started. Just kidding. I'm kidding.
Asta, what the hell, dude?
No, it is. Actually, I spoke to the speaker, and he, it's just, they use talking points. They use the same talking points. For example, he'll say, I spoke to the nurses 3 times. And he did, but he spoke to them before he shelved the bill. Since he shelved the bill, he refuses to speak to them. So it's disingenuous in the way he says things, but it's like a talking point. They latch onto it and they all repeat it.
I talked to the nurses 3 times. 2 of the times I was telling them to shut up and get out, but I talked to them, damn it. I talked to them.
Well, it's like I could say that I talked to a nurse too, but I went to the doctor. I mean, did I talk to the Nurses Association? I did not, but I talked to a nurse, and that's basically the same thing he's doing.
I love it. Well, it's just the whole thing. When they make this funding argument, what they love to not include in that, what they love to omit, is the fact that as a state, which, by the way, California, 6th largest economy in the flipping world, but as a state, we are spending about 17% of our GDP on healthcare costs. If we went over to the single-payer model without doing anything at all, without making any other adjustments, just going single-payer straight up, it would still be less.
Yes.
It would still be less than that. So
absolutely.
That's like saying, that's like
and everyone would be covered. It
yes.
would be full coverage, and it's medical, dental, vision, pharmaceuticals, drug rehabilitation, mental health. All of these things would be covered at little or no cost. And you think about it, your workers' comp, your disability, your Medicare, all of that is all in one pot. So that's more money in your paycheck. But people say, well, they're raising taxes. But on the long run, I mean, just what I pay from my paycheck for my insurance, I pay like $8,000 a year. And then I go have my co-pays. And then if I have to have testing done, it's $30 a copay. If I have to have certain tests done, it's $100. All of that adds up, and not everybody can afford that. So realistically, it just makes more sense economically, just for society in general. I don't understand. Well, I do understand it's because of money, but the fact that the reality of what we're dealing with is, in the state of California, Democrats and only Democrats are blocking healthcare. You can't blame Trump. You can't blame the GOP. It is Democrats, and it's because of money. So when you go to in LA, I was at Jimmy Gomez's city hall. They're putting fear in these people, and most of them are Latinos. They put fear in these people, and they tell them Trump's coming for your insurance. He's going to take away your ACA. Doesn't even mention SB 562. So when you bring it up, he says that it's not going to work. We have to start from scratch, and it's the worst case scenario, all of which is false. But you go into these communities, they don't even know what SB 562 is, and they're just hearing that Trump's going to take away their ACA, and it's manipulative, and it's putting fear in people that's not justified. And even with the immigration issue, it was.
Uh-oh. Are you with us? I feel like we might have lost her. Oh, that's unfortunate. Yeah, I think we might have lost her. You guys had a lot of great questions. We only got to less than half of them. So we got a lot of great questions coming up for her. If she gets back on, she may have had, her computer may have died. The space shuttle that was launching in her backyard may have launched. She may have had to help with that. That's the narrative I'm going with. Maria had to go because she had to help launch a spaceship, and that's noble work. All right. She has more important things to do. And I understand. I don't take it personally. I totally get it. Hey guys, thanks for watching. That was a clip from Get Your News On with Ron, the world's first viewer-curated streaming news show. What does that mean? That means I log on to a stream and people tweet me articles over on Twitter at Ron Placone, or they use our Reddit subsection, which is just Get Your News On with Ron over on Reddit. And that's how we build the show. I'm seeing all these articles for the first time. We are literally getting our news on together. Follow me on Twitter at Ron Placone so you can participate. And this show streams live every Tuesday through Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So please do tune in. If you want to support this show, you can do so over on patreon.com/Ron Placone, where for as low as $1 a month, you get access to exclusive podcasts every week, exclusive videos, free tickets to shows when I'm performing in your town, and more for as low as $1 a month. Please do consider it. Thank you so much for your support. This has been Get Your News On with Ron.